Oh, there you are, YouTube. Okay, so I've seen online, this is, I mean, what we're in like day 11 for me anyway of quarantine, and online I've seen all these different people showing how to wash your hands. Well, no, everybody knows how to wash their hands, but it's recommended that you wash your, I hope everybody knows how to wash their hands. It's recommended that you do it for 20 seconds or more, and people have been coming up with these different things, a lot of them pop culture related, that you can recite while washing your hands. My favorite one being like the opening credits to Star Trek or Star Trek The Next Generation, you know, the whole Final Frontier speech. And I love that one. I thought that was great. I've seen, you know, certain songs and things like that that people are doing. But what I want to do is see if Charles Xavier's speech in the very first X-Men movie, where he's talking about mutation, see if that lasts at least 20 seconds. X-Men, the movies, I love the 90s cartoon, and the movies are, even though they miss sometimes, is one of my favorite movie franchises. I'm just a diehard fan, even when they, you know, make absolutely awful movies like Wolverine Origins, and, you know, I hate to say it, but Dark Phoenix, didn't like that one, didn't like Apocalypse. So, you know, there are X-Men movies that I don't like, but it still remains one of my favorite movie franchises. So I wanted to take something from that franchise and see if it could be something you could wash your hands to for 20 plus seconds. So let's give it a shot. And I've already warmed up the water, so I don't have to wait for that to happen. That way I can just kind of roll into it. So, a little water. 20-second scrub. Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism to the most dominant species on the planet. Its process is slow, normally taking thousands and thousands of years. But every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward. I think that was about 20 seconds. Somewhere around there anyway. Speaking of favorites, right there, Steven Spielberg, my favorite director. Right here, this is the Croc Clock from Hook. That's my favorite movie of all time. My wife got me that when our girls were born. It was my daddy pin. But yeah, favorite director, favorite movie, one of my favorite franchises. But my favorite superhero comes from the X-Men, and that is, actually he's not in this picture, but my favorite superhero is Beast. I collect a lot of Beast figures, so I'm sure as I continue these, I'll probably give you a tour of my Beast action figures. So with that X-Men talk, I was starting to think of how I would rank the X-Men films. Now, I've done this multiple times before, and it's an evolving list, but I'm trying to think of how to rank the X-Men films. So in doing this, I'm not including the Wolverine solo films or the Deadpool films. So it's like just purely the X-Men movies. And I think what I would do is the first X-Men film, because that movie meant so much to me when it came out. It was such a big deal. It was literally a dream coming true when I saw that in the theater. I, again, loved the 90s cartoon, but actually seeing it happen was amazing. So I think I always have to go with the first X-Men movie, even though it's very early and like technically when it comes to like special effects and things like that, you know, it's probably lower, but I feel so much for that movie. So probably that one, then X2, and then maybe see, it's already hard. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say it. X-Men First Class, and then Days of Future Past, and then X3. Actually, X-Men 3, while not a great movie. When I first saw it in the theater, I absolutely loved it. Walked out of the theater so hyped because I saw Beast on screen, and he's my favorite superhero from Marvel. And that was a dream come true, and I just totally loved the way Kelsey Grammer performed him. Nicholas Hoult, performs him okay, but not my favorite, version of Beast. Kelsey Grammer definitely is my favorite version. Then, Apocalypse, maybe, and then Dark Phoenix. Man, those last two though are both pretty bad. But yeah, a little bit of X-Men talk. I'm sure it'll pop up again. As I said, I have lots of action figures that I may give a tour of. Who knows? Outside of that, we'll see how tomorrow goes.